I don't know about you, but I'm in full summer swing right now. The weather is warm, the pool has finally warmed up, and I am just dreaming about the beach and everything summer. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I have an entire release that is based on summer and summer themes, and it's from Pretty Pink Posh. So let's quick flip through this new release and check out these new stamps, dies, stencils, and embellishments. I'm just going to focus on the items that I'm using in today's video, which will feature 3 shaker cards. So first up, we have the Sentiment Strips Summer Stamp Set. These are horizontal sentiments that can be cut out with the Sentiment Strip dies. Next, we have the Sandcastle Shaker dies, the Shoreline border dies, and the Seashell shaker dies. We'll use both the Sandcastle and the Seashell, as well as this sand bucket shaker die set, which has that cute little shovel on the side. I absolutely adore it. We'll also use the stitched coral dies as an accent on one of the shaker cards. Love these stitched dies. They are so fun to use with different cardstock colors. This is the Seashell background stencil. There are a few other stencils, as well as this Waves Edges stencil, which has the stencil as well as the mask, but I'll show those in future videos. Next up, we have the Summer Fun beads, as well as the Paradise shaker beads. These are so great inside shaker cards. Now let's use these new supplies to make some cards. For this first card, we'll use a stencil to create the background for the shaker card. And I am starting with an A2 piece of white cardstock on a waffle flower grip mat. Then I have the stencil on top, and you can see I did place a little bit of the Spellbinders tape at the top and the bottom, and that's just because there's a very short amount of stencil at the top and the bottom there, and I didn't want the stencil to move at all. I used 2 different colors of Catherine Pooler ink on top of the stencil and a large blending brush from Spellbinders. And you can see how the pink and the coral really go nicely together. Next, out of that, I cut out the seashell shaker. So this is the part of the seashell that is going to be the window. And so you can see that all of these little arch pieces are cut out individually. We'll just be able to add a little bit of liquid adhesive behind all of that cardstock and then place a piece of acetate behind it. And then just set that aside to dry for a little bit so that it's not coming off when you're trying to work with it. Next, I'll take one of the seashell main pieces and cut out the little windows out of that as well. So now we have a frame that will go on top of that window that we've cut out of the stenciled background. This way it's not just kind of hanging open, if that makes sense. You want a nice frame around it, and you can cut that out of any color of cardstock or even white if you want to. So next what we'll do is we'll flip that window over and we'll place some of the Spellbinders micro strips. These are foam strips that work really, really well with shaker cards. And all you want to do is trap the window inside a square or a rectangle. Next, I'll use those Paradise shaker beads. I absolutely love these colors. These are such great summer colors, pinks and yellows and oranges all together. Then I'll peel off the release tapes behind those foam strips, revealing the adhesive. Once I have that done, then I'll pour the shaker beads right inside. And you can see how they are trapped by those foam strips. Next, I'll place an A2 piece of white cardstock directly behind that, lining it up, and that will trap those little beads inside to create the shaker. Here's that stitched coral that I mentioned. I just cut out one little piece as a little accent, added a couple of little foam squares behind it. Then I stamped one of the Sentiment Strip stamps and cut it out with one of the Sentiment Strip dies. Super easy to create these shakers. They are so much fun and people love receiving them. Okay, for the Sandcastle shaker, I've cut out the sandcastle and I inked the edges just to give it a little definition in. And now I'm taking all the little window pieces. These are all little individual window pieces, so you don't have to use them all. You can just use the rectangular pieces if you wanted, but I decided to cut them all out to make that frame. Then I cut the main piece out of an A2 piece of craft cardstock, and I'll place a little liquid adhesive behind it and place that acetate on top. Now I have the frame, and behind the frame, I'll put a little liquid adhesive and place it right in the window, so it will pop in like a puzzle piece. Then you'll flip the card panel over and place those foam strips, trapping the window inside, and then pour your shaker beads right inside of that rectangle, or it's sort of a rhombus, I guess, that I created, and place your craft cardstock on the back. I wanted to add some waves, so I used those border dies to cut out a couple of colors of blue and aqua and kind of turquoise cardstock. If I have anything hanging off the top, I'll just flip it over and trim it so that I can have a couple of different shapes of waves rushing onto the beach towards that shaker sandcastle. And again, just flip it over and cut off any excess so that you can have the waves exactly where you want them. The sandcastle shaker dies also come with little flags and a door, so you can add those right on top of the window or the sandcastle itself. Added a different sentiment from the sentiment strip stamps and cut it out with those sentiment strip dies. For this shaker, we'll use that sand bucket, and I've started with the Waves Edge stencil and the mask. So you can see I stenciled the blue at the top, then I used the mask in order to cover up the waves so that I can add a bunch of sand to the bottom of the card. I decided to add a second round of waves in a different shape, so there are lots of options in this one stencil between the masks and the stencils all around the edges. So here's that sand bucket shaker dies. You can cut out a shaker in the rim, but I'm only cutting it out of the bucket itself. And then I figure out where I'm going to place it on the card once I have that shape, and then I can place the shaker that cut out that part in the bucket right on a piece of the cardstock that has the sand. So this way I can then add the bucket underneath on a white piece of cardstock. This will make a lot more sense as we go along, but basically this is going to be our background. So now we have a piece of acetate adhered to the back of the panel, and then I can place this time, since I have the back already created, my little rectangle of foam strips right around the bucket, and then just place the top right on top of it so that the window goes on top. For the sentiment, I decided to stamp it right on the bucket itself. This is really cute. It's a great place for a little sentiment, and we have tons of really fun summer sentiments in that summer sentiment strip stamp set. So I decided to heat emboss this with white embossing powder. It really pops off of that red bucket. I did add a few white gel pen details around the wave just as little accents. The bucket also, you can cut out a handle. I cut it out of yellow. I love the look of those bright primary colors of sand toys that you see on the beaches. They're so much fun, and they look great on a neutral background of sand and then the sea as well. And I also cut out the little shovel and pop that out right next to the bucket. And you can see that inside the shaker, I added clear confetti. These are my favorite clear confettis from Pretty Pink Posh. They are back in the shop, so definitely check them out in the description under the video because they haven't been there for a while and I bought a ton so that I wouldn't run out. I hope you can tell how much I love this new Pretty Pink Posh release and summer in general. But I'd love to hear if anything caught your eye. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.